Welcome to my pool pump area patio rejuvenation project. As far as the patio goes, we're just sort of getting in on the middle of this project. However, for the pool pump, this is where everything's sort of coming into place. I figured nobody's going to want to watch me haul 3 squares of recycled fines and do leveling and whatnot, but I do have some pictures of some of the plumbing that had to be redone to support this, and how I was able to stage the pool pump and the filter. This is actually about the third or fourth different attempt that I took before I decided upon this. So what we're going to do is we're going to be installing a brand new filter. It's going to be a cartridge filter going away from the DE. It is the Hayward Star Clear Plus. We're also going to be reinstalling the salt chlorinator. It's a Hayward Turbo Cell. We can see it down there below. We're going to be going through everything. New plumbing, new filter, reattaching the pump. We'll be reestablishing the electric later in the video. We're going to stage everything now. Let's get started. It's been tricky because this isn't generally the way I put in pavers, but I wanted to get this portion leveled and done first to stage, and then be able to put in the pump and the filter, get all this done, and then it's just a regular paver job. There were a couple extra challenges because I've also added drainage here. This is the main drain for the house, for the roof, comes down underground. It also meets this drain here for the patio, which was generally clogged because of dirt. We could see all of the patio here is black because it was generally a pool of water. This has been connected up to this drain, and it pushes outward in this direction. We can also see a pipe back here. This comes off of the pump. There's a 3-way switch, so if you're going to dump the pool, it's going to come around and go into that pipe and also push outward. This pipe makes its way all the way past, just out of frame, where it's going to meet another pipe and make its way down to the bottom of the yard. There's going to be a French drain. Other challenges is there's a grade over here, a different grade over here, and then right over here starts another grade. So all 3 grades had to be merged, and this has to be level for the pump and the filter. And then they all have to make their way level again. And I didn't want to include this in the video about pool filters, but it did present a lot of challenges putting all this together. In the end, everything came out nice. Everything right over here in this portion is level all the way up top, so the filter and the pump will fit very nicely. And this is how the unit came right out of the box. I just added the threaded couplers on the bottom. I situated it in this manner. You can see that the drain is right up here. Does it ever need to drain the pool filter? I could drain it right there. Information on the labels up front, so it's pointing out in this direction, not facing the wall. Also, I have the pressure relief valve is on the left side over here, and I still have the cap for the pressure indicator. It's over here. And you can see the 90s that I'm using are the pool 90s. This is just an example. This is not a pressure rated one, but I'm just holding it up here. Not like a 90 like this. You can see there's a big difference in how they turn. Also, I did this for staging. I put the solid pipe on the inside and the salt chlorinator on the outside. I don't want it like that. I want to put the solid pipe on the outside, the salt chlorinator on the inside. But it was easier to do that at the time. Made no difference, but I'm not going to keep it that way. I'm going to stop for a moment to drop the pressure rated fittings on here. I'm going to remove this flow switch coupler and use this on the return right there. It's going to go just above it on the inside. Now I'll cut a piece of 2-inch pipe to couple these two together like that. Now this piece will go in, arrow pointing down, and this facing the back. All this extra glue will be cleaned up with emery paper later. I'm not worried about it. But that's how it's going to go in now. It's very important that no glue gets on the top portion here, because I don't want that done yet. Okay, all the prerequisites are done. That means I can remove this pipe now. This is going to be the pipe that's going to be cut to size everything perfectly. So it's going to be real easy to just take this one out, measure everything up, and get it on the saw. Ultimately, it just kind of goes like this. I realize it's very high, hasn't been cut yet, but that's what we're going for. These screw-on couplers for the salt chlorinator, they're interchangeable. I could swap the chlorinator in any direction. It doesn't matter what direction the chlorinator is in right now. But you can see as I put this in, we can see what the gap is. I can just close that gap. And then we would just adjust that long pipe for size until that coupler came down into that top fitting, and we would have a circuit. Took a minute to glue these pieces in as well. That way I'm sure that this is evenly paired at 90 degrees. It's not offset in any way. Match it up by the seams, and got this piece done too. Remember, the only thing I'm cutting here is on the bottom, and that's the only piece that can't be glued. So everything's looking good. I'm going to add this piece. This is the coupler for the salt chlorinator. It's a standard 2-inch rubber gasketed coupler or repair coupler. I'm going to put that on there like that. This will further allow me to understand, because when it's in full seat, exactly how much distance I need. The only fittings not glued in at this point is this fitting right here at the top of the switch, and this fitting right here coming out of that threaded fitting from the filter. That fitting can't be done because, number one, I still have to remove this filter when all this pipe work is finished, because I have to put the polymeric sand down under here, as well as I have to put some sealant on those threads as well. But we could see, after adjusting everything, a little pipe cutting and whatnot, this is still a bit too long over here. This pipe will still need to be shortened to come down, but we are looking at pretty much that height now that everything else has been glued in. This over here would not affect that height, and this would possibly subtly affect that height. That could be a little bit higher. We're going to find out as we cut this one now, once I take this measurement. Let's see what we got after our measurement, see how close we came. Oh, look at that, that's perfect. Let's see, to move the filter a little bit, bring it into position. Look at that. And this collar would come down, just like that, tighten down. Got a circuit. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to glue this portion, and I'm going to clamp it down really quickly on that collar right there. Once I put the glue in, get everything straightened up, just let it dry, everything will be set up, and then the only thing we'll have left is right there. Let's mark that position right here. Satisfied with the way things are going, I took everything apart, put some PTFE on the threads. I'm going to put this back in now. Before gluing in the final piece, I'm going to use some joint compound under here, get that sealed up. Do this area as well while I got it open. I just have a little bit left to do this job, and then we're going to put this piece in permanently. See, I've just treated this area from the corner, going out to about here, the second pipe. I still want to flood this area a little bit with water, so I don't want it sealed, but it stops just over here, and this will allow me to put that filter in now. I'm just going to hit it with water here to activate the glue and let it seal. Laid the filter back down on these pavers now that they've been treated. Put glue on these last two pieces and just slid the filter right over into it, ensuring that everything would be lined up. And now the filter is fully installed and we're ready to continue on to the pump. Probably save that for tomorrow. So that's where we are now, ready to continue. Started staging the pump today when I realized this is my last opportunity to have easy access to that threaded fitting. So I'm going to move this pump out of the way. I'm going to put that in properly with the sealant, the PTFE around there, and then I'm going to put it back on. Got that cap back on. You can see that the coupler that I have, I use a really small piece of PVC, so it's easy to put in and detach. That's only for staging. Obviously, that's much too short to actually use in a real setup, but that's what I do when I do staging. Now that this piece is done, what I'm going to do is I'm going to remove these protective caps, and these caps are just plastic bags with couplers put on top of them to stop all the dirt from the work site getting in there. I'll do that now. We're going to get rid of stuff we don't need to uncomplicate matters. So I'm going to remove this long extension going back to the filter, because that's something that can be adjusted and accommodated for at the end. Also, this pipe is part of that. Just to give you a quick understanding, I've attached this up here. These pipes are pre-fitted, but they're not to the right height, so they need to be dropped down so it comes down to the right size so that the pump could slip right in the back. So I need to cut these down. I'm going to cut down one, get the right height, match the other pipe to it, drop this in, push the pump in, and then we'll have this side of the pump set up. Here's an overhead shot of that activity. And so as we see here, I'm using the one on the right, sizing for that one until everything's perfectly level, and then we'll adjust the left. Ended up with a resulting drop of 7 1/4. I'll apply it to this pipe, we should be good. 7 1/4 was on the money, it fit perfectly. Got the valve, is pointing straight up and down, I didn't have to offset anything. So now we're going to measure that pipe from the bottom to the top and transcribe it over to this pipe. Everything's in for a test fit now, it all looks good. We're ready to start gluing everything in on this side. When you consider that you only have one chance of seating all of these angles on the pipes right, you have to start from the inside of these 90s, which I did, and each time it has to be pressed in and quickly refitted, the whole thing reassembled. Make sure that angle's right, the inner 90, another inner 90, and now I'm going to connect the bottom and then this inner 90 right here, and then finally to the pump. With the last angle dependent fitting installed, I just unscrew the pump like that. Now I could easily put that fitting on, tap it in with the mallet, so I'll have the exact distance that I need to measure out the pipes. That's it. I'll let that set up for a while. We'll address a couple other things that need to be done before we continue. See, after all that work, here's the pump freestanding next to the coupler. It came out absolutely perfect. I could see I was a little overzealous with my calculations for the ground. You can see it's all the way back here. The ground post on the pump is up here. I also have one specially notched paver to support this, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to use this paver over here. I'm going to swap them out. Luckily the ground pulls back in that direction, shouldn't be an issue, but I'm going to have to stop here for a moment, make that correction, have the ground come out from under, and then tie off to that post. The ground has been moved, the medium has been added between these pavers here for the pump. Unfortunately, due to the color of the grounding cable pigtail, I'm going to have to add another piece of shrink wrap to cover that color up. I can do that later though, it's not a problem. So now we can continue the installation of the pump now. With all the planning, that pump installation took all of 10 seconds. I'll let the polymeric sand dry, and we will continue the connection going from the pump to the filter. I've added a piece of pipe to start the coupling at the bottom of the filter. That's going to be the only cemented thing in right now. You can see how close in staging the pipes came. Probably come in another couple of millimeters, but that worked out pretty good. Look at that. I've opted to insert a coupler here, another disconnect. This would allow servicing of the pump. There's one on this side because of the salt chlorinator. I figured one on this side would be a good idea too. We have another one here for the pool pump, one on each side as well. So I believe that would be sufficient. Also, in doing so, I have to cut down this pipe to get the height and this pipe to get the length. We should be done. I have a couple supplies I got to pick up. We'll pick those up and then we'll continue. Everything's been cut to size. I realized that the O-ring side probably should have been on the bottom facing upwards, but I'll be using some of the O-ring lubricant, and that should hold it in position. I'll be sure to check from the bottom before I seat this together. So now I have what is a closed circuit. Quite a mess to clean up, but everything's connected now. Everything looking real nice, and we could follow it. We got our two lines coming in, bottom and top of the pool, through that metering valve into the pump. Out of the pump we have a selector for the wastegate to be connected in the back, and then we have into the filter. We have our coupler right there. Out of the filter into the salt chlorinator. Out of the salt chlorinator there's a flow switch, and then into the return to the pool. The last piece will be the waste drain. That is running into the drain that I've installed from the roof. It's also the drain from the patio. It's making its way down here. It's all coupled together. I'm just putting pieces in to find out how far off it is. We could see that it's just short, so it's going to extend outward a 90 to a 90 and then come down. It makes its way here past this point, and that's part of a separate project, so we're not going to really worry about that. We're just focused on this portion here. I got that coupler on. I put in one of the small pieces here. I'll be able to measure what the offset is. We'll find out if we're going to add any at all extension onto that coupler in order to size it up to this pipe. My measurements from staging may have been just on the money. That'd be real funny if that happened, because that was done over on the patio. Everything's hammered in. I'll just take a height difference between these two pipes and cut accordingly. And with that last run, the PVC portion of the project is finished. I'll let all this set up right now and turn my attention over to the electrical work. First order of business will be the flow switch. I'm going to reuse the old one. I see no reason not to. You can see the arrows. Right now they're pointing up, but they're supposed to point in the same direction as that arrow right there, so they're going to point down when I put it in. It's a good idea because it's connected to a cable to turn the wire in the opposite direction from which you're about to install it. So you can turn it to the left about 8 times, so when you turn it to the right, it'll untangle what you just tangled in order to tighten it in. So I'm going to put a little PTFE on these threads because this is looking a little old, and we'll just do that now. So I've now screwed it in. The arrows are pointing downward in the direction of the flow. One made a new covering for the ground cable, coming up out of the ground as to not expose the wrong color. Comes up and around, terminates properly. So the ground is now finished. I'm going to reconnect mains power to the unit. I'm going to be doing power as a separate project for a multitude of things. It's going to include the salt chlorinator, lights, and other things. But for right now, I'm going to do this. I'm going to make this Liquatite shorter, only because I can. There's no need to have excess, but beyond that, I'm going to do nothing else. I'm actually looking to do a remote setup on this unit, but right now we're going to go with just what we had before, nothing special. We're just trying to get the pool going. Took off about 8 inches, gave it a twist as I connected it, get it to buckle in a bit so it didn't wrap outwards, wrapped inwards. So now I'll make these connections here, and that should end the electrical work. Everything's wired in, we'll close it all up. Also, the display here, it flips 180 degrees around, so I flipped it around like that upon reinstallation, so it could be accessed like this. I'll just bring it on back so you can see. Very nice. And there it is. That's the pump completed. We'll move over now to the filter, because I haven't even done anything with this filter except install it in the ground. We have to open it up, look inside, put the pressure valve on, everything else. Let's do it. Comes with a filter, obviously. I'm just gonna raise this filter out and have a look. Inside there's basically nothing. I mean, it's gotta go through here, make its way through the filter to get to the middle, to go out and around. That's all the system is. There seems to be some sort of tube that I guess allows a degree to bypass somehow. I'm not sure exactly, but we could see that this tube. Oh, it allows water from the top and the bottom. Maybe it's for air or something. I don't know. Either way, that's what we got. There's really nothing to it. It's not like a DE filter system. So I'll put that back in. Everything's already pre-lubricated as it arrives. The only thing I have to do is put in that pressure valve. So we'll do that now. So I'm going to want the valve over here where I could see it from the patio. See, as the pressure valve already comes with Teflon tape, so I'm just going to take this piece out. I'm just going to screw this right in. So there it is, the pressure gauge as it sits, and then this could be set up when we see what the pressure is with a brand new filter, so we could have the green and the red when it's time to clean the filter. So the cables to my salt cell are connected. This will come back up with the mains power that's currently shut off right now. I'll turn back on after I evaluate all these checks. Those two cables are connected right here. Everything here is cleaned up and tightened down. This valve is on 50%. This valve is set to pump, not to waste. The electrical work is finished here and sealed up. This fuse box is currently off on the mains from the side of the house, which I still have to turn back on. That in turn will be tested with this light switch. Going to see that the sodium bulb has power. So I know that this box is energized. I can turn on the rest of the breakers now and see how this works. Let's do it. I'm going to point out though, everything being closed and sealed, it's worth mentioning that there be some significant priming going on here. I've refilled the pool as I've had to lower it to do all the plumbing work. It means a lot of pipes drained of water, as well as the fact that this filter itself has no water, so it's going to push a lot of air back. That's after the fact, but it's these before pipes right here that has a lot of air in it. Let's just get started with this. Moment of truth. Ooh, I heard everything click on. There we go. I don't know if it's going to auto start or what. Yep. Not pulling anything yet. Like I said, there's a lot of air. I'm just going to preload it with some water. Fill this up. It'll make its way down that pipe too. So we'll have something to pump. You can hear it filling. And the pitch is getting higher. There it goes. Okay, I think we hit the point. Let's give it a shot now. Try round two. Now I can see it pour water. See that? There we go. Here it goes. I'm going to reprime it again. Air just pouring out the pool right now. Bubbles just coming out of the ports. This is trying to purge all sorts of air from the system. We'll come back when it's primed. Much more air than I anticipated. Everything finally purged. It's running real nice now. I let it run on a very high setting after I'd purged everything. And obviously when you do so and would spray in the water in there, I had to let it run a long time, dry everything up, and then let it run at high speed after it was dry to check every single fitting and make sure that there were no leaks. And everything is bone dry, no leaks whatsoever on this unit. And I'm going to let it sit like that for a while. Now I've dropped it down to a lower setting. This is one of the higher settings that I actually use. And there's no air accumulation forming in here. There's no air being either sucked in from here or any other place under here. So things are looking real nice. I'm just going to monitor this for a while. See, during priming, getting incredibly good flow here at the basket. I do have one of those nylon mesh nets that are in the basket that I've always had since I had the DE filter. But we'll see what it looks like after the priming stops. And no bubbles whatsoever. It's coming out of priming now. No bubbles at all after it purged. And here it is. Here's the flow on the regular setting. That's incredible. That's really good. It's very low restriction. So if that's filtering, it's doing an incredible job. Salt chlorinator's up, but it's been off for so long I can't really tell you what it is. It says 4,100 parts per million. I'm really going to need to let it run. Let's see what we're actually getting. Turning on, we're seeing about 3,700 instantaneous. So I'm going to let this level off for a while before I pass any judgment, see what I got to do. It'll probably be okay. Superchlorinate probably wouldn't be a bad idea anyway, since it's been off for about 3 or 4 days. Monitor the chlorine level, see what's going on. I stand corrected. It adjusted down to 1900. No doubt because, well, there's the alarm. No doubt because I drained a good portion of water to be able to do the plumbing, fill it up with fresh water. It's going to get rid of the salt. So I'm going to add more salt, bring that back up. Those average numbers were recorded from the last time the thing was used, so it took a while for it to figure out that the salt was really low. Through a check salt light and an inspect cell light. That's not an issue. A couple hours later, after the salt was added, and it took an entire bag, we're up to 3,000, probably C3100, but we're on superchlorinate and we're generating again. No errors, everything's running fine. I've been cleaning up the PVC with an 800 grit sandpaper. It takes off a lot of the extra blue that's been hanging over in the purple. I don't want to take it all off. I don't want to conceal it. A lot of inspectors go and check to see if there's proper priming and glue application on these pipes. So it's a good idea to leave it alone. So this is kind of what I did. I'm still working my way back. There's still some more to do. Aside from that pretty much covers it. So I hope you enjoyed this video of the pool pump upgrade and salt chlorinator installation here in the yard with the new New England sandstone pavers as I raise the yard to accomplish this task. Hit that like button down below. Helps me out a lot when you do. And hit that subscribe button for more videos. Thanks for watching.
Thanks for watching. Would you like to reply?